go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Log on.
Hey there, Detroit sports fanatics. I'm Taylor Phillips, and this is Taylor's Detroit Sports Show post-game Tuesday edition, Tuesday, April 14th, 2015, at 11 p.m. Eastern. You can call into the show with your name, city, and state at 646-478-4837, or text message with your name, city, and state at 231-429-3668. Just going to talk about the Tigers tonight. They shut out the Pirates 2-0 under Shane Green and Joakim Soria. Could have been just Shane Green alone. Rajai Davis and Ian Kinsler with RBI singles in the late innings. The 7th and 9th innings. Green improves to 2-0, but he could have pitched a complete game shutout, considering the fact that he only threw 81 pitches through 8 innings. And Brad Ausmus decided to take Green out and put in Victor Martinez, which wasn't really necessary. Iglesias was on second. Brad Ausmus still could have used Shane Green to bunt Iglesias to third with a sacrifice bunt. Instead, Victor Martinez struck out swinging. Second time he struck out pinch hitting in the 9th inning. First time to end the game yesterday afternoon. Second time with a guy on second. And Brad Ausmus decided to put in Joakim Soria to close out the 9th, and Soria pitched a 1-2-3 inning, and I think Soria should be the closer. Don't get me wrong, both Green and Soria finished the job together. I still thought Shane Green could have finished the game alone. That could have been a critical mistake. Considering how bad the bullpen was last year and still could be this year, besides the great Joakim Soria. Joe Nathan and Bruce Rondon are on the DL. Don't mind them. Nathan is projected to return on the 22nd this month. That is next week, Wednesday. Bruce Rondon, as far as he's concerned, the Tigers have no return timetable for him. But he's on the 15-day disabled list. Maybe Rondon could return at about the end of the month or something like that. With the loss yesterday, the Tigers fell back to second place, with the Royals still being undefeated at 7-0 going into tonight. The Royals are still 7-0, They must be playing right now. Let's see how they're doing. They have tonight off, obviously. So the Royals will still stay in first place at 7-0. Tigers improved to 7-1 with the win tonight. 2-0 was the final. Green the win. A.J. Burnett the rare loss. He gave up the Rajai Davis single in the 7th. And Joakim Soria, his 3rd save of the season, all of them clean. He only gave up a hit. And that the hit he gave up took place in Cleveland. Was off a bat of a Cleveland Indian at Progressive Field last weekend. But from my perspective, even though it was a 1-0 game, and Iglesias was on second, I still thought Shane Green should, and it's the National Leagues. So what? It doesn't matter. Shane Green should have been given the opportunity to pitch the complete game shutout. Ausmus decided to take him out.
You out of your mind?
Just 81 pitches, not even close to 100. Not even way too close to 90. Just 81 through 8 innings flat. I mean, this is a joke. Come on, is this a joke? Thank goodness for Joakim Soria, though. I got the Joe Nathan update from James Schmel. One of James Schmel's Ask Schmel articles from the latest from earlier today before tonight's game. A fan asked Schmel on Twitter, is Nathan going to be out for the rest of the season? I mean, really?
You out of your mind?
That's very harsh. Nathan had a very rough. Nathan had a horrible year Nathan had a horrible season in 2014. Don't get me wrong, but man, fans are very, very harsh. We're very, very harsh to Joe Nathan. They have a right to criticize, but they can't go over the line. I don't think they are, but I'm just giving them a reminder. But that one fan right there that asked Schmel whether or not Nathan should be out for the rest of the season, should be on the DL for the rest of the season. That was pretty much out of context. Joe Nathan used to be a good closer before he came to Detroit. And last season was a horrible fluke. I still love Joe Nathan. He's G.I. Joe Nathan. He's had at least a few great seasons. Not all of them were that great, but most of them were still good. We're still good enough for Joe Nathan to prove himself why he is a good closer. Right now, Joakim Soria has proven better. Soria used to be the closing pitcher for the Kansas City Royals, and then the Texas Rangers, and now the at least the interim closer for the Detroit Tigers. Nathan is getting paid $10 million a year for 2 years. He's already in the last year of his contract. Hard to believe it's a very short contract. Sorry, I'm pulling up Paul Woods there, the Red Wings. But if you want to call in on all these opinions, call in at 646-478-4837. That is the number to call. But please tell me who you are and where you're from, city and state. Maybe you're a Tiger fan from another state elsewhere in the nation, in this country. You can also text message with your name, city, and state at 231-429-3668. See, I don't have anything. I don't have any text yet or any callers. I had a caller last night. A little Dickie V entertainment, Dick Vitale. He's actually a college the real Dick Vitale is an ESPN college basketball analyst and has been for decades. And he's been very entertaining and very colorful and very accurate. He has entertained me for over a decade. There are a lot of national media talents on television that have entertained me without any trouble. I loved everybody's personalities. I've never hated one of them. I've never hated one of them for a single second. At least, and the call was clean and very entertaining, although many, including myself, would assume that this was a prank call. It was. I still liked it. But if you want to call into my show, please tell me who you are and where you're from. Those are the rules now. Well, those are actually always the rules, but thanks anyway. At first, the caller with all ones on 10 digits called without saying a word. And then he called in with that Dickie V prank, a clean one. It's okay. Tigers play the Pirates one more time at PNC Park. Alfredo Simon will take on Francisco Liriano, a 2.57 ERA. Liriano and the Tigers have had such a long history. Now, here's the preview from Jason Beck of MLB.com, our favorite. No opponent has more of a history with Francisco Liriano than the Tigers, his more frequent divisional foes during his years in the American League Central Central Division, and an annual foe his last 2 seasons in Pittsburgh. Most of that history has not been good. Likewise, no team has faced Alfredo Simon as often as the Pirates, all of their meetings over his previous 3 seasons in Cincinnati. Together, it's an interleague matchup with a lot of history, which seems fitting as the Tigers and Pirates wrap up their first of 2 series this season. Let's take a sip of water here. Water's good for everybody. Liriano is 5-9 with a 5.82 ERA in 25 games, 18 starts against Detroit, including a 1-8 mark in his last 13 appearances, 11 starts. The one win during that stretch came on August 15th, 2011 at Comerica Park. He catches a break without the designated hitter as Victor Martinez is 13 for 28 with 7 base hits against him. Miguel Cabrera is 9 for 32 off Liriano, but with 3 doubles, 2 home runs, 8 walks, and 8 strikeouts. I'm going to have to disagree with that because Nick Castellanos is not a smart third baseman, not on the field and not at bat either. He's made a few great defensive plays at third base this season, but tonight he made a bad decision, allowing a ground ball to get by him and allowing Jose Iglesias to try to make a play when Castellanos supposedly had an easy play on that ground ball. All I had to do was just go and field it and throw to first for the easy out, but he made it a lot tougher for Jose Iglesias to throw out that batter that was in one point of tonight's game, which proved critical but not costly. It didn't prove costly, but it was still critical. Even mistakes can lead to infield singles, I guess. Simon owns a 3-4 record. Well, before I touch more on Simon, that's why Nick Castellanos should be benched, and Miguel Cabrera should move to third, and Victor Martinez should play at first base and start against Francisco Liriano. That's just my recommendation to manager Brad Ausmus here. It's just a suggestion. And yes, Brad Ausmus is still not a bright manager. He still hasn't. Yesterday he made 2 very critical decisions that proved costly. He pinch hit for Anthony Ghost with Hernan Perez when Ghost was batting .391. And he kept Nick Castellanos in the game in the ninth inning, and Castellanos hit into a double play before pinch hitting for Alex Avila with Victor Martinez, and Victor struck out. Ausmus made the same mistake again, and Martinez struck out again for Shane Green, who could have been used for a sacrifice bunt to move Iglesias to third. I mean, Iglesias still would have scored. Still would have scored even with a throw on that Ian Kinsler RBI single after that Rajai Davis walk, but there still could have been runners on the corners with what could have been a sacrifice bunt by Green, followed by the Davis walk and the Kinsler single. It still would have been, the RBI single by Kinsler would have been much easier, and which could have created the opportunity for Shane Green to pitch a complete game shutout. A win's a win. A win's a win either way. It still ended at 2-0 as we expected, one way or another. But those are just suggestions. Brad Ausmus has to make smarter decisions. Either that, or he has to stop making oh so stupid decisions. He's not even, with those decisions, he's not even being conservative. He's like being a mega liberal by making those decisions.
Out of your mind.
Yeah, Brad Ausmus is out of his mind. Call in at 646-478-4837 with your name, city, and state, or text message with your name, city, and state at 231-429-3668. We have just under 7 minutes left on my show. I'm also streaming on Google Plus Hangouts on air and on Ustream.tv. So what do you think of this game? This 2-0 win. Shane Green shined. It was cruising. There was absolutely no reason or excuse for Brad Ausmus to take Shane Green out after 8 innings. Even if the Tigers would have won 2-0 anyway, which they did. Tigers and Pirates play tomorrow night at 7:05. The series finale, the rubber game. There, Simon owns a 3-4 record and a 3.50 ERA in 18 games against the Pirates, including 2 victories and 4 starts last season. He has generally held Andrew McCutchen in check, 5 for 20, with a solo home run, 5 walks, and 5 strikeouts. 3 things to know about this game. Number 1, the Tigers and Pirates will celebrate Jackie Robinson Day on Wednesday. All players will wear the number 42 in honor of the anniversary of Robinson's major league debut in 1947. Number 2, Starling Marte was out of the Pirates lineup Tuesday, but look for him to make a return Wednesday. That's tomorrow. He's 6 for 20 with 3 doubles off Simon. That could be a factor. Before the actual game Wednesday night, Justin Verlander will throw a simulated game Wednesday afternoon. That should go a long way toward determining his status for the next turn through Detroit's rotation. Verlander sidelined since the last week of spring training with a right triceps strain, is scheduled to throw 4 innings of 15 pitches each, though manager Brad Ausmus suggested he could go longer if he feels up to it. Verlander. Verlander has nothing to do with tomorrow night's game, but it is an update. So there's your update on Verlander. I already gave out the updates on Joe Nathan and Bruce Rondon. Still no return timetable for Rondon, but Joe Nathan is expected to be eligible to come off the DL and be activated to return to the roster on April 22nd. So again, Tigers and Pirates at 7:05. It's going to be on Fox Sports Detroit Plus as the Pistons take on the Knicks in New York at Madison Square Garden at 8 o'clock on Fox Sports Detroit. Join George Blaha and Greg Kelser as they call the action in the season finale at the Garden. You can also catch that game on the radio on Detroit Sports 105.1, DetroitSports1051.com, the Detroit Sports 105.1 mobile app, and on the Pistons Radio Network affiliates. Otherwise, 101.1 FM in Roscommon, WGRY, for example. Also, the Red Wings begin the first round action in the Atlantic Division semifinals against the Tampa Bay Lightning. I think it's at 7 o'clock or 7:30. Let's check the Wings here. Schedule real quick. Got 2 minutes left. I'm trying to make this quick. 7:30. So that does it for Taylor's Detroit Sports Show postgame Tuesday, April 14th, 2015, 11 p.m. Eastern. I'm Taylor at 11:30. I won't be here until like 10:45 or 11. TTFN, ta-ta for now.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.